All right, so this is me. You know what? I really wish I didn't have to make this video, but after recent events and just after long-term trends, I feel like I have no choice. I am officially done with the disabled community at large. I am done with you guys. Like, I'm not saying every single member, and I'm not going to throw people out just because they're disabled. You know, if I meet someone who's a cool person and I find out they're disabled, I have no problem with that, you know, but really as a whole, your community is just fucking awful. Holy shit, is it awful. And I am disabled myself, so this isn't just coming from like prejudice, this is coming from years of experience that I'm making this video. I think a lot of what it boils down to, honestly, is that I am an adult and I have the brain of an adult. And I mean, fine, great, good for me, but a lot of other disabled people are kind of like children or teenagers in adults' bodies. And I mean, yeah, okay, look, that's not in their control, but it doesn't make dealing with a lot of the idiosyncrasies that teenagers and kids do any easier when you're trying to be friends with them. Like, I've noticed a lot of people in my audience, they're teenagers, okay? And no offense, but your demographic is kind of one of the most toxic demographics. Very self-centered, petty, childish. Not all of them, but I'm sure you know who I'm talking about. There's people, you know those people at school that I'm talking about. So can you imagine being an adult 10 years from now and you're still surrounded by people who do that same petty bullshit? You know, they gossip, they are unreliable, self-centered, never think about anyone but themselves. I know that's doubling what I just said. One, obviously they got to think about their brother, the toilet guy, 911, because I always have to make that reference. But they're just unreliable, selfish. They don't care about you. They care about petty shit that doesn't mean anything. And they never grew up. Would you want to be around people like that 10 years from when you graduate high school? Or do at some point you want to be around reliable adults who, when you ask them for help, they give you help instead of making it about them? Because that's what I feel like a lot of people in this community have done. You know, you ask for help and they're immature people. So instead of giving you that help and saying, listen, you're sinking on the Titanic, what can I do to help? They're all thinking,
No, I don't really feel like it.
how can I get out of this? And right off the bat, that should be your first sign that something's wrong. When someone comes to someone who's their friend for help, your first response should not be to find a way to weasel your way out of it. It should be, okay, my friend's having a problem. How can I solve this? But it really feels like that is what a lot of people that I've interacted with in this community have done. I go to them saying I need help with dating, and they say they'll help me, but then they dodge the question every time I try to bring it up after then. So, you know, that works out well. I mean, why? Probably because they're scared, but that's no excuse to lie to your friend's face, I don't think. Or am I just crazy here? I go to them saying, hey, I'm in a toxic home situation, I need help moving out. And they say, oh, I want to move out too, but they're scared. So instead of following through on it or facing their fears, or just manning up and saying, hey, listen, I know I said this, but I didn't understand what it entailed. I'm sorry, I can't do this. I could respect the honesty at least. No, they lie. They lie, and they dodge the question and ignore you when you try to bring it up. And they hide, hoping it'll go away, even though you literally said, hey, I'm sinking on the Titanic. That should be super obvious that this is very important and you should not be piddly-putzing. And yet that's what a lot of people that I've asked for help in this community have done. My favorite was like some of them too. Like, I actually was defending them to other people, saying you're not being fair, like they're in a bad home situation, you should do something. And they'd always turn on me, oh, why don't you do something? It's like, but I don't have resources, I can't even move out on my own, so what do you expect me to do? You do have resources, why are you pushing this on me? That's a subject for another video. But yeah, defend these people to others, and this is how they repay me, is they abandon me when I need their help. Thanks, fuckers. Really, no thank you, I appreciate it. Here's my salute for appreciation, my salute of appreciation for being treated that way when I defended you to other people. Maybe you didn't know, but still. And a lot of people are like, oh, well, you're being too hard on them. I think my sister, I overheard her and eavesdropped on a call, and she's like, Victor doesn't understand that a lot of these people are low functioning. I think she said those words. Do with that what you will. But it's like, really, at the end of the day, I don't care, because I'm a human being, and human beings are social creatures. They need a certain amount of social interaction to feel satisfied in life. And I'm sorry, I don't care whether or not the reason I'm not getting it is because people just don't give a fuck to try, or they can't try that hard. At the end of the day, my biology's still saying, Victor, you're not getting enough fucking interaction, and I'm gonna make you depressed because of it. Okay? Did people get that? Did you get that? My biology does not care about the intentions of why I'm not getting the amount of interaction I need. It just cares that I'm not getting the interaction I need, and it's making me depressed, potentially lethally so, as there has been more than one time where I've considered just, you know, to myself. I've never really followed through or made a serious plan, but it's like the fact that I'm even considering it because I felt so alone and trapped and there was no way out, that should tell you something. And why is this? Because no one around me makes any effort to reach out. And I guarantee the people who say, oh, they're trying as hard as they can, you're not even paying attention. Because like a lot of these people who say this, I heard for the grapevine, they just play video games all day. Again, kind of like teenagers. And look, there's nothing wrong with playing video games as an adult, but that's not all you should be fucking doing. You know, you should be communicating with your friends for one thing. But it's like they can't even take this break for 3 days, no joke, to get back to their friends because they're too busy playing video games. And then when you call them out and say, hey, I'm exhausted, I'm tired of giving 95% of the effort in this relationship, can you meet me halfway? Instead of saying, you know what, I play video games, I probably should stop doing that. They're like, oh, well, I'm doing as best I can, Victor. You're being so hard on me. You know, and again, they just make it about them. I'm the one who's suffering. I'm the one who's being hurt here by someone who's just clearly not trying as hard as they can. And they twist it so it's about them and how I'm yelling at them and hurting them. It's like, yeah, it sucks, doesn't it? But that's how I felt every time you ignored my messages. And yeah, that's a common theme, is people just outright ignoring my messages. So, I mean, I can't have relationships with a lot of people, and I can't try harder, as some suggest, because there's not any more I can do if the other party won't show up. You know, I can be the boss that accommodates you at work, I can do all these breaks, but if you ain't gonna show up and punch in, you're fired. Really, that's how it works. You know, you gotta show up to work. I can't do anything for you if you won't even show up. And it's just... it's so agonizing. You know, you really, let me put it to you this way. Let me give you some understanding of what it's like. Have you ever had that one friend? You know the one I'm talking about, the one that never responds to messages. You ever want to see them, you have to do all the damn work. Imagine if all your friends were like that. Now imagine your loneliest moment, you know, when you felt like no one cared, you were completely alone. Now imagine feeling like that all the time on top of it, and you get an idea of what I have to deal with. Because really, I am alone. There is no support network. If I need something done, well, yeah, they piddly putz because they don't want to do it. You know, I need to move out. Oh, well, I'm scared, so fuck you, Victor. I know I gave my word, but I'm not going to do it because I'm scared. Or, hey, I need help with dating. Oh, I'll help you. And then, oh, but I'm scared to actually go out and do it, so I'm just going to dance around the issue like it's a joke. I know I gave my word, but you care too much about not facing my fears to not lie to your fucking face and disrespect you. And then I get defensive when you rightly say, what the fuck was that about? Friends don't lie to each other unless they're playing poker together. Then you can maybe lie and say, oh, I had aces in the moment. But I mean, again, that's very specific. And this is what I have to deal with. This is what I have to deal with. There's also a selfishness problem that I've noticed. Yeah, I mean, like, it's kind of building up, but there's a very serious selfishness problem that I've noticed in this community. So, I don't know if people know this, but I tried opening up about my problems years ago on film fiction by writing fan fiction stories. And I mean, I don't think the writing was that bad. I mean, I've written Speakonia videos in the past on other accounts. I might do a reveal of that at some point, but I've written Speakonia videos, and people love them. They're like, oh my god, I love these videos. So clearly I'm capable of writing decently, so let's just say that that's not the real problem here. But even if it were, it should have been obvious to these people that I was drowning and I needed someone to talk to, listen to me, needed to just vent and get this shit out there, needed a shoulder to cry on. And I open up to this film fiction group, and what do? What the fuck do? Do you think they give a shit about what I'm dealing with? No, they make it about them, you know? And you might think, why am I mentioning this? Well, I've been to cons, and from being around people who are autistic a lot of my life, I'm pretty sure a fair number of people in the Brony fandom have some form of neurodivergence. I can't prove it, but I highly suspect that that applies to a fair number of them. So I do think it's applicable to bring this up. So I open up about these problems on Film Fiction, and you think, oh, well, they'd understand more than anyone, right? They face the same problems. So I vent about these stories on Film Fiction, and what happens? They vote bomb the fuck out of them. And I write in the author's notes, hey, if you're going to do that, can you at least have the courtesy to tell me why so I know what's wrong and can fix it? Kind of ridiculous that I should have to focus on fixing the story over just getting what I need to say out. It's sort of like going to a support group and they criticize your storytelling technique over just saying, I'm sorry you went through that, you didn't deserve that, but whatever, I was willing to do it. They ignored me and kept vote bombing. I got angry and I started calling them out on it, saying, this is ridiculous, you don't do that. This is a very personal story, and this is really fucking me up. And they double down on it. They don't just continue, they double down. As in, kick the hate into overdrive. Really nice stuff there. And then I finally just say, you know what, fuck you people. All I wanted was someone to listen, and all you did was make this about you and how you didn't like the story. Fuck off, I'm done with this site. And you get people coming out of the woodwork saying shit like, don't let the door hit you on your way out, you're so toxic. Completely ignoring what everyone did up to me at that point, accusing me of not taking criticism when really there is no criticism if people don't even say what the fuck's wrong in the first place, and saying I deserve what I got. And this is people who I suspect are on the spectrum saying and doing this shit. What the fuck? Like, really, great community you got there. You should know better than everyone else. It sucks, and you do it to me. You have no excuse. And then you think it was an isolated incident? Oh, fuck no. I tried opening up on another brony group. There was a person that I met at one of the cons, seemed pretty decent, and they gave me their, you know, Discord groups. I'm like, why the hell not? They had this Need a Friend tab where you go there and you post your problems. I thought the idea was you get emotional support, but what ended up happening is when I or 99% of the other people posted shit, it would just be ignored and washed away. Next person would comment something completely unrelated, like what you said meant nothing, like helping you didn't mean anything to them. It was all about them. You know, again, kind of like the story. You know, fuck the guy who's trying to open up about problems that are bothering him. I don't like this story, I don't like this shit, therefore I'm going to vote bomb it and ignore him because he deserves that. It's not your fucking story, okay? Get it through your head. And this is just not your, like, this is not your personal sounding board. When other people open up, you need to help them too. Otherwise, why should you expect anyone to help you? It's so stupid. And yet, this is what happens on that group. So I had to quit because I'm like, fuck this. You know, when I literally said my parents are dead to me, one person said, wow. And everyone else just said nothing. And then the next person comments something and changes the subject, and don't get any help. When really it should have been obvious to anyone who could read between the lines that that was when I needed help the most. Just like with the story. And then the third strike, just this week, I tried opening up to a disabled social group locally. Shouldn't be a problem, right? I mean, they're not part of the brony fandom, they're isolated. So I shared why I made the dating vlog video to that group. Everyone ignores it except the leader. Now, it seemed like no big problem at first. He's like, hey, I went through similar experiences, I get it. So I said, I'm sorry, the person who did that to you was a biatch. And what does he say? He starts going on this tangent about, well, it's a family-friendly thing, we shouldn't be swearing. It's like, okay, when someone says, I'm sorry you went through that, the correct response is, thank you, I appreciate your concern. But whatever, just brushing that aside even, it's kind of rude to just change the subject and whine about like swearing in front of people. It's like, dude, I'm opening up about serious stuff and that's what you care about? But then what really pissed me off was how other people started commenting unrelated stuff. When are we going to get together next? When are we going to have pizza? Ignoring me completely, akin to what happened on that Film Fiction and Need a Friend tabs to talk about their issues, which really are minor in comparison to someone saying I felt alone and unhelped in my entire life and I don't know what I'm doing with dating. I mean, really, if you opened up about something you would want me to listen, why do you not have to follow the same courtesy? So I called it out. I'm saying, literally, I just got through talking about how this community's had problems in the past, and here we go again. This is not okay. And the leader's just all like, I'm not going to argue with you. Oh, well, you know, they're doing nothing wrong. He won't even fucking call out the toxicity right under his fucking nose. He's more concerned about the fact that we don't swear, you need to conduct yourself with tact and decorum here. And it's like, and I'm literally thinking to myself, okay, so ignoring people when they're saying opening up for help is tactful? Like, don't be a hypocrite. And then I tried to defend myself, and he's like, I'm not going to argue with you here. If we want to talk about it, we can do it in private. It's like, and yet you had no problem roasting me in front of everyone up to that point. But the moment I try to throw it back at you, then you care about making it private. And again, it just pissed me off, because it's like, you care more about your stupid image than the fact that people in your group are basically ignoring other people opening up for help. And it's like, you know what? You need to shut that shit down. Okay? When you see it, when you're a group leader and you see that happen, you need to say, hey, this guy's opening up about stuff. Let's talk about this later. Or let's talk about it in private. You don't just fucking dismiss everything. You don't just roll along with it like he did and then act like I'm the bad guy when I rightly so say, what the fuck was that about? Why did you just ignore me? I really wish I could, and again, I wish I could say this was an isolated incident, but Film Fiction, the fucking Discord group, and just multiple other times when I tried to reach out for help with things to my disabled peers just shows it's not. I don't know why this is the case. I suspect, I can't prove it, but I suspect it has to do with the brain development thing I mentioned. A lot of them are kids and teenagers in adults' bodies and haven't learned empathy yet, because their brains never developed to the point where they would reach that. And I mean, whatever, it's not their fault, perhaps, but that doesn't mean I want to interact with people who only care about themselves. And when I say, hey, I need help here, I don't want to interact with people who only care, who are more concerned with the fact that my story's boring them than the fact that their friend needs help and needs someone to talk to. I don't want to interact with people who are more concerned with the grammar and, oh, this story doesn't interest me, than someone clearly crying for help in the pages. You know, I don't want to interact with people like that, and yet that's what I've seen over and over again. It's just been frustration after frustration. One-sided relationship after one-sided relationship, where I have to do all the work, and if I dare try to lean on them for any support, they just pull right out of the way. But they have no problem coming to me for help, right? You know, it's just, I'm tired of these one-sided relationships with self-centered people. I really am. And I am aware that that's a problem outside of the disabled group, but I think the frequency is really what gets me about it. Like, everybody that I've tried to interact with so far pretty much has pulled this exact same fucking routine. And it's despicable behavior. And no one holds them accountable, because really there's like there's an entitlement problem. Because you try to talk to anyone about this and say this is a problem, and instead of saying, you know what, Victor, you didn't deserve that, I'm gonna have a talk with them, or I'm going to help you find people who don't treat you that way, they're like, well, maybe you were too hard on them. Maybe you didn't try hard enough. And it's like, you know what? No. When someone's clearly not trying and can't even take 5 seconds off their fucking video games to respond, and when they're vote bombing the fuck out of my story when it's clear this is personal, because I literally tell them, I don't think I'm being too hard on them to come down on them like a ton of bricks and say, you do not treat people that way, and I'm going to call you out for that. And I don't think I'm trying too little when people literally ignore my fucking text messages. Like, there's not much more I can do in that situation, okay? If you can't even reply to messages, I don't know what to say. Like, that's what I call basic fucking shit. As in, if you want to have a relationship, you need to do that. Be it friendship or anything else, you need to be able to do that. And you need to set time aside to respond. You know, and I'd say the same thing to anyone who wasn't disabled who was treating me that way. Why? That's called equality, you know? When someone's clearly acting out of line and doing things they shouldn't be doing, and I know they're capable of doing better, I'm going to call you out on it, you know? I'm not going to just cut you a break, oh, he's disabled, because that literally, what does that do? That doesn't help anyone. That just makes them think that, oh, their behavior of ignoring people and only thinking about themselves and expecting people to cater to them, but they never have to do anything for anyone else, even their friends. You know, that's not going to help them win friends and influence people. That's not going to help them have healthy social connections. It's going to cause them to have all these evaporating relationships where people realize that they're being used and say, fuck that shit, and then they leave. And they realize, oh, well, this person doesn't give a shit about me when I need something, fuck off. And then they leave, and then they wonder why the fuck they're alone. And I'm not saying I'm perfect, but you know what? At least I definitely done and said things in the past I shouldn't. But at least I can look back and say, you know what, I shouldn't have said that, and I've grown since then. But a lot of these people, whether or not it's in their control, have not grown since then and may never grow. And really, I just don't want to be friends with kids or teenagers anymore. No offense, I just don't. I'm an adult, I need to have adult friends. And whether or not it's in someone's control that they're not an adult mentally, that's not really my problem, is it? It's not my job to cater to everyone else's shortcomings. Okay? At some point I have to look at what I need in life. I need a support network. When I have problems, I go to them and they help me fix them instead of dancing out of the way and making it all about them. Well, I don't feel like it, so I'm not gonna do it. And when I fucking send messages, I expect a response. Always. Maybe once in a while if you forget, but it shouldn't be a common thing where you just don't get back to me, or you respond so infrequently that it's hard to even maintain anything. You know, I don't think that those are unreasonable requests. In fact, I think those are necessary requests for me to actually feel satisfied in life. You know, because I remember the person that scammed me a few weeks ago, you know, I as much as I despise them and they should go to hell, like, Luigi, you go to hell. At least they made me feel like I was important, like I was valued. And they, for once in a long time, I felt satisfied with my life to some extent, versus always feeling alone and isolated. My friends should not be putting me in a situation where I feel like that. They should be trying enough to where that isn't a problem. And yet their idea of trying is maybe they respond if they feel like it. Maybe they reach out once every couple months if they feel like it. And when they live 10 miles away, mind you. You know, maybe they reach out. Not to make plans, by the way, just to say, how's it going? And, you know, it's just, and maybe they, when they give their word on something, if they feel like it, they actually try to keep it. But if they don't feel like it, their word means nothing. They can just lie, and not try, and you're the bad guy if you have a problem with it. Like, I'm not even kidding. This has caused serious trust issues. I mean, how can you blame me? When your very own friends say things to you, say they're going to do things to you, and then do everything in their power to go against what they said they were going to do, why would you trust anyone? You know, why would you? They clearly don't. Their word means nothing. Anyone can give their word. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything. And I have loneliness problems, again, because I have to carry these relationships. And if I don't constantly try, and do everything for these people, I never get anything in return. And when I get exhausted and pull back and say, you know what, I'm tired of doing all the work, let's see what they do, they never reach out and make it clear that I never meant anything to them. No one should be that lonely. Nobody should fucking feel that unimportant. No one should be that without support. And this community has left me in that situation time and time again. And the last time just showed me that it's never gonna fucking stop. It doesn't matter which group I go to, which cadre I interact with. As a whole, this community is so self-centered and stuck and toxic and just doesn't try. And I'm done dealing with that. You know what? I'm just done. This community has a problem. Namely that it's not really even a community. It's just a bunch of people who happen to have a disability in common, or have the fact that they have disabilities in common, who happen to be in the same place. But make no mistake, this isn't a community where if you fall down, they're right there to help you up. They could care less about you and your well-being. As a whole, they could care less. And you really are on your own. And I say, you know what, you want, really, and again, that's the teenager mentality coming in. Teenagers play that fucking game. Kids play that fucking game. It's all about them, and fuck you if you have a problem. And I say, you know what, you want to play that game? Fuck you right back. But as for me, I'm going to find people who have the maturity to realize that it shouldn't be every man for themselves. Who have the maturity to actually live up to the knowledge, to the ideals of community. I don't know if such people exist, but I do know that I'm not going to find them in this community. This sham of a community, I dare say. This sham of a community that has left me feeling lonely, isolated, unwanted, disrespected, ignored, excluded, ironically enough, time and time again. And then when I dare raise my voice and say, I don't deserve to be treated this way, they get defensive and blame me for having a problem in the first place. I just don't have the patience for that shit anymore. And they need, in this community, this sham of a community, needs to be fixed. but it's not my job. In fact, I don't think I could even if I wanted to. Because again, that group that I just left, where they were more concerned about the fact that I mildly swore versus people ignoring and excluding me right under their nose, it just shows that they don't even, that as a whole, this group doesn't even know they have a fucking problem. And you can't help someone who won't even acknowledge that there's a problem in the first place, because they will resist every attempt for you to do it, because right, there's no problem. I don't need to do anything, right? So until others realize that this community as a whole, this sham of a community, I'm going to keep saying, has a problem, nothing's going to change. But what I say is it's not my job to make them realize it. And quite honestly, I don't want to anyways. I mean, realistically, I felt like those stories could have helped the people on the spectrum a lot. You know, it could have opened a lot of people's eyes who aren't on the spectrum to the problems that we face, the struggles we have every day. And instead of siding with me and backing me up and being supportive, all the people on Brim Fiction could do, fair number of which I'm pretty sure on the spectrum, is shit on me and make it about them. You know, see, like, it's like having an ambassador for a group and you just treat them like garbage. Why the fuck would I be your ambassador? You know, literally, I was gonna name one of my alt accounts Autism Ambassador at one point, but I'm like, am I an ambassador? I don't represent this community. I'm too different from them. And I don't really feel like they support me either. So I'm not an ambassador. I don't know what the fuck I am, but I'm not an ambassador. And I just really don't want to help a group of people that don't really give a fuck about me. You know, when I help them, I should have people saying thank you. I appreciate that, and accepting me, letting me in. I should have earned my way in by now. But no one does that. No one lets me in. They shut me out and whine about how, oh, I know you're doing this stuff for us, but but it's not enough, you know? And I know you're having troubles, but fuck you. This is what I want, and that's more important. So I'm done. You know what? I'm just fucking done. When I move, it's going to be tough though. Like when I move, I'm going to be stuck with a bunch of other people who are on the spectrum. I haven't met any of them. Maybe I'll be lucky, and a lot of them will be more mature than the people I've had to deal with thus far in my life. And I say deal with because really, I should not have to put up with that. You know, it is a constant tax on my existence to have to deal with people who could care less what I'm going through, make it all about them when I try to open up, and just ignore me and treat me like I'm an outcast, even though they should know better because they've been outcast most likely during their life. Maybe I'll be lucky, and maybe pigs will fly. Maybe I'll flop a royal flush 3 hands in a row. Maybe that'll happen with pocket pairs, mind you. Yeah, like literally impossible when you have a pocket pair to flop a royal flush. Either way, I'm not going to try to find out. I'm going to keep to myself, and I'm going to try to go out in the community and do things. Maybe start a poker vlog at the casino or something. Hopefully they let me record. They probably won't, knowing my luck, but I haven't checked. Hey, it's a poker pun. See, check. I don't know. Either way, I'm done with this community. I'm done being disrespected. And in terms of helping them, as a whole, you have not earned me. I am not going to help a bunch of people who, when I come to you and say, hey, I'm drowning here, I'm dealing with exclusion in college, and I'm writing these stories about this shit on me. I'm not going to help people who, when I try to vent in a need a friend tab, ignore me altogether and then post their own shit like mine never meant anything. So it's clear that they did check the tab, they just didn't feel like actually helping me. And I'm tired of dealing with people who, when I try to open up about personal problems, care more about the fucking fact that I half swore once versus actually helping me with them, and have no problem allowing people to ignore me right under their nose, but then call me out for arguing when I dare to defend myself and say that ain't right what they're doing. I deserve better than that. So I don't know what to say. I mean, really, this community, this sham of a community, has a very serious coldness problem. But again, that's not my battle to fight. I need to focus on me and finding others who actually treat me like adults for once in my life. Come see mean when you fucking grown up. This is me. Fuck all you people for the goddamn shit you put me through. Fuck all of you for being selfish. And fuck all of you for ignoring me and treating me like I never meant anything to you. Meanwhile, I'm gonna go try to find a new community that actually acts like a community and it treats me like I'm part of a family. Will I succeed? Hell if I know. Maybe not. But at least there's a chance. It's like holding pocket deuces in Texas Hold'em. You probably won't flop a set, but at least there's a chance that you will, and you'll win a big pot off aces. Here, though, I feel like I'm holding 7 deuce. And rather than fight it and try and hit 2 pair, I'm just going to fold that damn hand and wait for and go to a different situation.